Welcome in to today's stitch tutorial. Today we are doing the camel stitch. Now this is a stitch that is only shown on one side of your work and it can be used in any multiples. So for this example I'm going to do some chaining. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. I'm going to do 14. When you've got as many as you need across, whether you're doing a small project or a big, doesn't matter how many you chain, but just make sure that when you've got the amount that you need, add another 2. So 1, 2. Now, I'm going to be using US terms. We are going to do a half double crochet in the third from the hook. So there is the first, the second and the third in for a half double crochet. In the next stitch, half double crochet. And all the way along to the end. So I'll meet you back when I'm over here. Okay, so I'm going into my last stitch now. And it is important to make sure you are aware of the right and the wrong side of the work. So this is the right side. We have our tail over here. And right now we are going to chain 2 and then turn to the wrong side. Now when we are here, this is the start of our sort of a 2-row repeat. It's actually a 1-row repeat, but you'll see what I mean. Okay, now ordinarily we would go into these V's ordinarily. It would be into there to make the V on our hook. But for camel stitch, that's not happening. In camel stitch, what we're using is actually the diagonal. So let me show you, because we're using the, let's zoom in on that. We're using the back loop. Okay, so using my spare hook, this little diagonal just here is the third or the back loop. So when we are working, we are going to be going into that loop. We're not going through the standard route. We're going into the back loop or the third loop. Okay, so the wrong side is now facing us. And we're going to carry on with the half double crochets, but in that back or that third loop. So we're going under, yarn over, pull through, yarn over, pull through 3. And even though this is on the front at the moment, that's purely because this is the wrong side. So when we turn, we're still going to be using that back stitch, but it will be at the back. The third loop can be complicated. Please don't let it be. So let's go for another half double in that third or the back loop and carry on across the row. What you will notice is that it gets easier as you go, because as you go into this stitch along, it actually pushes the next one forward for you and helps show it off a little bit. So it makes it easier to find and to go into. So carry on across the row and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, so now we're on the end. I've got one more to go into. Always make sure you go into that corner one. Finish off your half double. And it's pretty flat on this side. But let's chain 2 and turn to the right side. And you can see that ridge that has been created. See that? Okay, so next we still need to go into the back loop, which is now at the back. And that is this just here. Hang on, let me get my pointy hook again. So that is this one, and this one, and this one. This is all the back or the third loop, and this again is the only one that you are going into. But this can be a little bit difficult, and you have to find your own groove for this, because depending on how you hold your hook, depending on what is comfortable for you, is going to determine how you do the next part. Now for me, I like to kind of treat it like a ladder. I end up doing this with my work instead of going like that. So I literally turn it again. And again, we're doing half double crochets, and we need to go into that third or the back loop. So under we go for a half double. Now it does look a little bit twisted, but have faith. So again, this is the one we're going into, the third or the back loop. But you have to find your own way of doing this, because a lot of people are going to be different. It's what you find comfortable, what you find easiest to do to get into that back loop. So all the way across the row, and I will meet you at the end. Okay, so here I am at the end. I have one more to do before the last stitch. Now there's a couple of ways that you can do the end. You can indeed go into that back bar just there if you wish to. Or instead of going into the back bar, you can go into the back loop of the actual stitch. This kind of gives a little bit of stability, a little bit of structure to the edge of your work. So that's the way I do it. I've been shown, I've been taught and I was converted after seeing a few others. So it keeps that nice straight edge and keeps the structure. And that's the end of your 2-row repeat. So remember, chain 2 and turn. So now we have the wrong side of our work and everything is flat. On the right side, we have the ridge. So with our work being on the wrong side, our 3rd loop, our back loop, is on the front. So again, half double crochet in the 3rd loop, all the way to the end, and thankfully it's practically on top of your work now because it really pushes it up for you up to the top, because the actual stitch is down there. I hope you can see that with your work. All right, I'll meet you at the end. Okay, we're at the end. Got one more loop to do. And chain 2. And let's do one more row with you. So we turn and we're now on the right side. So right now we have a ridge here, a ridge here, and a ridge here. So this is the one where you need to find your groove. So for me, I do the ladder technique and I turn it and I work down the row rather than across. So half double crochets again into that back loop, the 3rd loop, standard half double crochet. Other than that, and remember, when you're looking at the stitch, you've got one bar there and one bar at an angle. It's the one at an angle that you're going into. So again, there's the one at a diagonal. That's the one I'm going into. That's the 3rd or the back loop. Oops, cramp, cramp, cramp. Okay, now toward the end. So 2 stitches left. There's one, and I'm going into the back loop. There we go. Now this hook was custom made by Jelena at her Etsy store, which is linked down below in the description. She makes hooks custom made for you. If you want something in particular, all you need to do is ask and she will bring it into fruition for you at a very, very good cost, bless her. Now let's get a stitch marker on there, hanky stitch markers. Always for sale, over 430 different shades. All you need to do is pick them and email me. So here we have the braids, the texture of the camel, nice and thick, quite sturdy, lovely and warm. So there we have today's stitch. It's the camel stitch. Hopefully you'll give it a go, and maybe I'll see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.